Last month I remade a bunch of my old Fallout 76 builds, but with the new combat changes and perks, just to see how they turn out. And that was a lot of fun. So today I decided I would remake some of my old Fallout 4 builds inside of Fallout 76. Because for anyone not aware, I've made way more Fallout 4 builds than I have 76 builds. Like, there's 62 of them, only 61 are available on the channel now because there's a surprise coming in December. For this video though, I will quickly show you my legendary perk cards just so you're aware what I'm working with between all characters, and then we'll get on to the first of the builds I remade, the Brotherhood Sniper. So the old video was about a Brotherhood of Steel member who used a laser sniper and power armor. It was fairly simple. This was genuinely one of the first videos on my channel, like maybe the first 10 videos this was included in. This is an old video. And this was a nice simple one, but I was like, yeah, I can totally just remake this inside of 76. The new build also uses Brotherhood painted T60 power armor, as you'd expect. The only mods on it which really matter, because I didn't have any legendary pieces, was the VATS enhanced or whatever it's called on the head, and the stealth way on the torso which gives you cloaking, which is really good, and which I'm not sure I even had on the old one in Fallout 4, because that was baby Sarge who did it, who wasn't even that familiar with Fallout 4 at that point. I rolled myself a new ultrasight laser rifle in order to use as a sniper for this build, and I got Nocturnal, which doesn't suck now, and that feels so weird, because for the longest time Nocturnal was an effect which actually made your weapon worse during daytime hours, and just a little bit better during the nighttime, and it was the worst effect in the entire game. But now it's an extra 50% damage while cloaked, which whenever I'm crouched down and not moving in my power armor, I will be, so it's actually kind of good, and that feels wrong to say. But yeah, well done Bethesda, you made Nocturnal at least okay, maybe good. The perks for the build are on screen right now. I'm not going to go down all of them because this would make this video insanely long, but it's mostly similar to the sniper build I already run. There weren't a lot of changes. I threw in the science perk because that scales energy damage with your intelligence, which is just nice for an energy weapon. And there were a couple of power armor perks added as well, though these were mostly like utility based ones, like having fusion cores last longer. Nothing that really made a huge deal. I should point out that there's a few ghoul perks, including ones that actually do really help, like the extra damage to weak spot, and it doesn't really fit in with the theme of being a Brotherhood of Steel member. You know, they hate ghouls, they suck for that reason. But once you go ghoul, you don't go unghoul, because it costs 1,000 atoms to return to being a ghoul again once you become human, even though it was free if you do it through the questline. And yeah, I don't have thousands of atoms, which cost real world money if you want to buy them. Yeah, I don't have that kind of money, so we're just being a ghoul and dealing with the slight conflict there. Overall, this build was lots and lots of fun. Like, it was more fun than I was expecting it to be. For a power armor build with no silence weapon, like that laser go pew every single time, it was surprisingly stealthy. To be fair, you're supposed to be fairly distant from your target, which always helps, but the fact I wasn't getting detected like 9 times out of 10 felt surprisingly good. I could deal a really strong amount of damage without it being fully optimized as well. Like, you saw my perk cards, you saw the weapon, it's good, but I'm sure there's little nuances I could do. I could figure ways to like boost my intelligence further, like is it Broiled Scorch Beast Brain or something which gives you a boost there? Like, there's definitely more I could do. I could stack some chems and whatnot, but this was just me being casual while playing it, and it still dealt a lot of damage. Like, I was one-shot or two-shotting most enemies I came across, which is great. Also, if you do get detected, because, you know, you are still in a big suit of power armor, then the weapon can fire reasonably quickly, and all it costs is a slight reduction to the damage per shot. Like, it is a charging weapon, but the charging time is like 2 seconds maybe, so it's like pew, pew, if you want to be a sniper, or you can just go pew, 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 and you deal like 75% damage maybe 50%, maybe I'm being a bit generous there, but it still gives you a way to be quite quick and damaging, gets you some decent DPS. And the fact you're wearing power armor means you have high resistances, even with me not having this stuff crafted as legendary yet, so it's a real nice balance overall if you want to sometimes be playing as a stealthy sniper, but also don't want to confine yourself just to being a stealth build at long range. You can get more into open combat, which is it's great. It's a real nice balance between the two. The next build I decided to remake was the Cyber Ninja. This is another of my earliest ever videos on the channel, so if you decide to watch it, because these will all be linked below, I apologise, both for how bad I sound vocally, and also for my Japanese, because I'm pretty sure I spoke Japanese at the start of this video, which was probably all poorly pronounced. But heyo, the original video was a stealth melee build where I was trying to use some of the automatron items, which, at the time that video came out, was probably a fairly recent DLC. So, yeah, I definitely had fun with it, and it's a build that sticks in my brain quite a lot. The 76 version, I was able to improve this, because I wasn't restricting myself to that so much. I used the Chinese stealth armor instead of before I had the marine wetsuit and shadowed combat armor, because it's just so much better, both stats-wise and in terms of visuals. Visually, the Chinese stealth armor has like these wires going to it, which is great, because I'm pretty sure my previous version was me really working on restrictions. And previously I was using shadowed pieces to get like a minor stealth boost, whereas now I just get a full cloak field and like plus 25% chance to not be detected or something like that. The Chinese stealth armor's really, really good. On top of that, I was able to stick with the Sentry Bot helmet, which still works, looks very good. I can't get a shadowed version in this game, but it's a minor nitpick there. I rolled myself a legendary Assaultron blade, which was fine. It had okay effects on it, nothing really to write home about, but I also made myself a suppressed 10mm pistol, which was to replace the Deliverer, which I used in that previous build as well, because, you know, we all love the Deliverer. Perk-wise, here they all are. It was very much a snake melee focus, with just a couple of extra perks for Silence Weapon, like Mr. Sandman, and explosives with Demolition Expert, because I figured big crowds, blade and a pistol's not going to be great for that. You'll probably notice at this point that I use Number Cruncher on everything, as it's just a really easy damage boost, and I always have the Perception for it, because I've got like the Legendary Perception maxed out, so why wouldn't I just have this damage boost on everything? It makes sense for every build. Now this character is ridiculously stealthy, like so insanely stealthy. The past character, the Brotherhood Sniper, that was like, yeah, as long as you're kinda smart about it, keep your distance, you can probably stay undetected. This build, I literally stood behind super mutants while chopping at them multiple times and I didn't go into danger. It was kind of hilarious. There were 2 instances in all of the playtesting where I went into danger. One was when I was shooting the pistol a whole bunch, and that kind of got me just into danger on the final enemy right before I killed them. And the other one was in Mischief Night, and I'm pretty sure that's because that event is broken. I have literally spawned into that event while cloaked before, while there are no enemies around or even spawned in, and it still tells me I'm in danger. So I think Mischief Night is just broken when it comes to stealth. Otherwise, didn't go into danger at all. The Assaultron Blade isn't a particularly strong weapon, which meant I had to swing a fair few times in order to get the kill, but it didn't really matter because as I was crouched next to them slashing at their ankles, they just didn't know where I was, and it was very funny. The 10mm pistol really wasn't worth using most of the time. Even though it is silenced, it has a chance to alert enemies, and with the blade, like, no one had a clue what was going on. As soon as I start shooting the pistol, people get an idea of where you're at, so that's not great. It also sadly doesn't have great damage. The 10mm pistol just isn't that good a weapon. I even, with my random legendary roll, got some fairly decent effects on it, and the damage was still a bit underwhelming, so I'd probably leave the pistol behind. It's good to have just in case there's an enemy you can't hit with melee, but not a big deal. Grenades and stealth were surprisingly fun and great for clearing hordes while still being undetected. I went to a Cult of the Mothman church and there were like a dozen or so enemies and I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to stealth kill them all. Probably still could have. So I threw a couple of grenades in till there was just one and I could just chop them off. That was, yeah, pretty damn cool. Overall, I think this was the most badass feeling but least practical of all the builds I've made. 76 is quite a fast-paced game, and I kept feeling like I could just be doing things so much quicker if I was playing as almost any other build. Like, yeah, it's really cool just casually sneaking behind your enemy, waiting for the right moment and then striking, but I also could have just walked in there and shot them twice and they'd be dead. That's how most other builds work. It was still a lot of fun, but definitely not an optimal build. It's really one just to play if you want to feel like a cool cyber ninja. It was pure vibes. And the final of the Fallout 4 builds I remade was the Slayer. Bow, bow, now, now. It's not based on Buffy. The original was a monster hunter that was really just designed to look really cool more than anything else. Like, the Fallout 4 version had this really badass aesthetic going on, and it wasn't that great in the old version. The past had the spike armour with some sort of cowboy style hat and a skull bandana. This time around, I had to go with the Drifter outfit because there is no wearable spike armour in Fallout 76. Honestly, not sure why. I went with the cowboy hat, which honestly looks a little different, but I'm not sure which hat I was supposed to wear. I was able to find a skull bandana. I had to genuinely go searching for one, but I found one. And I also threw on an eye patch, as I felt it kind of fit the vibe, you know? The weapons I used in the Fallout 4 version were a machete, double-barreled shotgun, and railway rifle, which all exist inside of Fallout 76. The 76 variants of these are in fact so much stronger thanks to being able to just put some legendary effects onto them, which I don't think I had at all in Fallout 4, except for the Krem's Tooth mod on the machete, which I was also basically able to do inside of 76. You'll see the three of them here. The machete is just like pretty cool looking, it looks gnarly. For the shotgun, I use Salt of the Earth. Honestly, Cold Shoulder would probably be stronger, and it does have the cryptid hunting effect, which fits in with the monster hunter side of things. But Salt of the Earth, I just looked at it and was like, yeah, that fits the aesthetic and overall colour scheme more than anything, so I went with that, and it's nice to switch things up from time to time. The railway rifle, I think in the original I had it single shot. This time it was modded as automatic, as it loses no damage at all, and the fire rate is actually slow enough that you can control the trigger. It feels weird to be like, hey, this automatic weapon's really good because it's got a low fire rate, but it means that if you want to, you can just press the trigger once and it will just fire once, and you can control it really well and treat it like a semi-auto weapon while still having the automatic option. Perks now. Here's all the perks. This one was a real mix, because there's a melee weapon, a shotgun, and a railway rifle, which is a strange sort of rifle, weird niche weapon. There was a real mix here. Lots of evasion for just dodging damage, which I always like. I used Onslaught and some of the kill streak damage perks, because I know a lot of the meta people love talking about Onslaught, and because I had Ticket to Ride? Is it Ticket to Ride? Oh no, I've forgotten the name of the railway rifle. You'll have all seen it, but I had Ticket to Ride, also one of the best board games for introducing people to the board game hobby. I had that, and that has like an Onslaught legendary effect. That all stacked fairly well. Also threw in some shotgun projectile boosts, and the perk Rad Reaver, which restores glow when using melee attacks. There was a lot of perk choice here, and it was nice to have a real good mix. And because there was so much perk choice, and cool weapons, and a badass look, I just love this build so much. It might be the most fun build I've played out of any inside of 76. It was so good. The shotgun is great for crippling enemies, and if you want just a quick burst of damage, like if you've got an enemy who's got like a quarter of their health left or something, you can just be like, bam, and they're dealt with. The railway rifle, like I said before, you can tap it for just a single accurate shot over range, or you can just hold down the trigger and it will stagger with each shot and deal a crazy high amount of DPS. Like, it's a bit costly in terms of ammunition, you won't get it all back and have to craft it, but it only costs you steel to craft, which is so common. But you can just like bats in on an enemy's head, just hold the trigger and go and they don't stand a chance. It's an incredible weapon. I gotta use it more. The machete also does a bunch of status damage with both bleed and poison, which is great, and it restores glow, so it was my version of healing was to pull out a machete and start swinging at people. Overall, I felt so badass using this. It was great. On top of that, this was one of my favourite Fallout 4 builds, even though it wasn't particularly good in Fallout 4. Like, stats-wise, it just didn't work particularly well. Like, I could make it work, because I'm quite good at Fallout 4, but it just wasn't optimal in any way. Inside of 76, though, it works better than ever, and honestly, I might even prefer it to playing as a sniper. Maybe. I'm not convinced fully yet, but maybe. Overall, I was just really happy to see all these builds can be made to work. I had to tweak all of them like a little bit just because of some things that weren't in this game that were in Fallout 4 or minor changes there, but every single one of them was a lot of fun to play as, and that's what matters most. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, check out the description if you want to see the classic builds or just more of my Fallout 4 builds, and subscribe for more videos like these and build related stuff because I want to lean a little bit more into that in the future. As always, thank you very much for watching. Sarge out.